You're stuck because you keep chasing perfect. You think you need the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect opportunity. But while you're waiting, life is passing you by. Listen, perfection is a lie. The real power isn't in being perfect, it's in progress. One step forward, no matter how messy, is worth more than a lifetime of waiting for everything to line up. Perfection is a trap because it makes you believe that unless everything is flawless, you can't move forward. That mindset will paralyze you. You keep thinking about the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect setup, but deep down you know there will never be a perfect moment. Life will always be messy, unpredictable, and full of challenges. So if you wait for perfection, you'll spend your whole life waiting. Perfection convinces you that mistakes are unacceptable, that failure is the end, and that if you can't do it right the first time, you shouldn't even start. That kind of thinking kills dreams before they even get a chance to live. Look around at anyone who has achieved something great. None of them started with everything figured out. They started messy. They started uncertain. They started scared, but they started. That's the difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck. While one group keeps polishing, planning, and analyzing, the other group takes the imperfect leap and figures it out along the way. Perfection is not only a trap, it's an excuse. It allows you to stay comfortable, to avoid the risk of failure, to hide behind preparation instead of execution. But you can't win hiding. You can't grow sitting on the sidelines trying to get everything just right. Every second you spend chasing perfection is a second you lose to action. The truth is, people don't remember perfect. They remember progress. They don't care if it's flawless. They care if it's real, if it's consistent, if it's moving forward. Perfection will rob you of your time, your energy, and your opportunities because while you're waiting for everything to align, life is passing you by and someone else is out there turning progress into power. Progress creates power because every single step you take adds up to something greater than what you can see in the moment. Too often people underestimate the value of small movements forward. But those little actions are what create momentum. Think about pushing a heavy object. At first it barely moves. It feels impossible. But the more you push, the easier it becomes. Progress works the same way. Each step builds strength, builds confidence, and builds belief in yourself. Even when the step is tiny, it's still movement. It's still energy. It's still taking you closer to where you want to be. People get caught up thinking they need one giant leap to change everything. But the truth is, power doesn't come from a single massive move. It comes from a series of consistent moves stacked on top of each other. The reason progress is so powerful is because it gives you proof. Proof that you can start. Proof that you can continue. Proof that you're capable of doing more than you thought. Every time you take action, even if it's not perfect, you create evidence for yourself that you can actually do this. That evidence becomes fuel, and that fuel becomes power. Power is not about being the strongest, smartest, or most talented in the room. It's about being the one who refuses to stop moving forward. It's about being the one who keeps stacking small wins until the weight of those wins is impossible to ignore. Progress is what turns ideas into reality, dreams into achievements, and goals into victories. Without progress, nothing changes, nothing grows, and nothing happens. But with progress, everything becomes possible because power lies in the act of moving forward, not in the fantasy of waiting for perfection. Momentum beats perfection because once you start moving, you create a force that carries you further than you imagined. Momentum has a way of making hard things easier, of turning effort into habit and habit into results. When you're moving, you stop overthinking, you stop doubting, and you stop getting stuck in your head. Perfection, on the other hand, keeps you frozen. It convinces you that you can't take action until every detail is flawless. But the truth is, movement itself creates clarity. You don't learn by waiting, you learn by doing. You don't gain confidence by thinking about the perfect plan. You gain confidence by taking steps and adjusting along the way. Momentum builds speed, and speed creates opportunities that standing still will never give you. Every small action compounds, and those actions stack on top of each other until suddenly you're moving faster, achieving more, and breaking barriers you once thought were impossible. Perfection doesn't give you that. It just wastes time. Momentum allows you to make mistakes and still win because progress is more powerful than paralysis. A person who takes 10 imperfect steps is always ahead of the person still waiting to take one perfect step. That's the difference between growth and stagnation. Once you have momentum, you stop needing motivation because the results themselves push you forward. You start to see evidence of your effort, and that evidence fuels even greater effort. Momentum turns an ordinary person into an unstoppable force, not because they did everything perfectly, but because they refused to stop moving. That's why momentum will always beat perfection, because perfection is an illusion while momentum is real, tangible, and unstoppable. Once it's created, you don't need perfect, you need progress, because showing up, taking action matters more than having every detail lined up. Too many people convince themselves they can't start until they have the perfect plan, the perfect tools, or the perfect timing, but that day never comes. The real difference maker is consistency. If you show up every day and do something, even if it's small or messy, you will always be ahead of the person who is still waiting for everything to be flawless. Progress is about building habits, stacking effort, and refusing to let excuses control your life. When you choose progress, you give yourself permission to grow, to learn, and to get better with each step. Perfection doesn't allow that. It demands that you have it all figured out before you begin, and that mindset stops people from ever starting. Think about it. The first time you try something, it won't be great, but the second time it's better. The third time it's stronger. And by the 10th time, you've built skills and confidence that you could never have gained by sitting on the sidelines planning. Progress creates momentum, and momentum eventually leads to excellence, but you'll never reach that level if you're waiting for perfect before you act. Every expert started as a beginner, every champion started as a rookie, and every master started by being imperfect. What separates them is that they didn't let imperfection hold them back. They kept showing up. They kept moving. They kept pushing forward. That's why you don't need perfect. You need the courage to take the first step, the discipline to keep going, and the faith to believe that progress will take you where perfection never could. The world rewards execution, not waiting, because results only come to those who act. Too many people get caught up in planning, preparing and dreaming about what they want to do, but they never actually move. Waiting for the right moment, the right resources, or the right conditions is nothing more than a delay. And while you're waiting, someone else is already taking action. The marketplace doesn't care about who had the best idea on paper. It cares about who turned that idea into reality. History isn't written by the people who thought about making a move. It's written by those who stepped forward even when things weren't perfect. Execution proves commitment, it proves courage, and it proves you're serious about your goals. Action separates the dreamers from the doers. Waiting feels safe because you avoid risk, you avoid mistakes, but you also avoid growth. The ones who succeed are the ones who risk looking foolish, risk failing, risk starting small, because they understand that every action brings them closer to the goal. Execution is where lessons are learned, where strength is built, and where progress is made. You can read every book, study every strategy, and listen to every expert, but none of it matters. You don't act on it. The world is moving fast, and opportunities don't sit around waiting for you to be ready. They reward the bold, the decisive, the ones who step into the arena and get their hands dirty. Even if you make mistakes, you're still further ahead than the person who is stuck waiting. Action always produces more than hesitation, and progress always outshines perfection. The world doesn't pay for ideas, it pays for execution. And the ones who move are the ones who win. Choosing progress over perfection is the key to building a life of success and fulfillment, because progress is something you can control every single day. Perfection is an illusion that will keep you chasing a moving target, but progress is real, measurable, and achievable. One small step forward, one action, one decision to keep moving may not look like much in the moment, but over time it compounds into something powerful. The people who win in life aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who don't let mistakes stop them. They keep pressing forward, learning, adjusting, and growing. Perfection leaves no room for mistakes, which means it leaves no room for growth. Progress, on the other hand, thrives on mistakes, because every wrong turn teaches you how to make the next one right. Every stumble builds resilience, and every setback prepares you for a stronger comeback. When you choose progress, you shift your focus from what you can't control to what you can. You stop worrying about being flawless and start valuing consistency, discipline, and persistence. Over time, those qualities build a strength and confidence that perfection can never deliver. Perfection keeps you paralyzed by fear, but progress keeps you alive with purpose. Success is not about taking one perfect step. It's about taking thousands of imperfect steps that move you forward day after day. Progress gives you momentum. It builds evidence that you're moving. And it reminds you that even slow movement is still movement. Choosing progress means you're willing to keep going when things aren't ideal. And that willingness is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Every step counts, and every bit of progress brings you closer to the life you want. Choosing progress over perfection is the key to building a life of success and fulfillment, because progress is something you can control every single day. Perfection is an illusion that will keep you chasing a moving target, but progress is real, measurable, and achievable. One small step forward, one action, one decision to keep moving may not look like much in the moment, but over time it compounds into something powerful. The people who win in life aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who don't let mistakes stop them. They keep pressing forward, learning, adjusting, and growing. Perfection leaves no room for mistakes, which means it leaves no room for growth. Progress, on the other hand, thrives on mistakes, because every wrong turn teaches you how to make the next one right. Every stumble builds resilience, and every setback prepares you for a stronger comeback. When you choose progress, you shift your focus from what you can't control to what you can. You stop worrying about being flawless and start valuing consistency, discipline, and persistence. Over time, those qualities build a strength and confidence that perfection can never deliver. Perfection keeps you paralyzed by fear, but progress keeps you alive with purpose. Success is not about taking one perfect step. It's about taking thousands of imperfect steps that move you forward day after day. Progress gives you momentum. It builds evidence that you're moving, and it reminds you that even slow movement is still movement. Choosing progress means you're willing to keep going when things aren't ideal, and that willingness is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Every step counts, and every bit of progress brings you closer to the life you want.